Good morning, campers. Yes, I'm filming this on the same day that I'm filming my McVitie's and Red Bull video. If you haven't seen that, that's coming up shortly at some point. But basically, I just wanted to say that the channel's had a slight little update. I've been on YouTube for about a year now. It's probably been over a year by the time you're watching this. I know how late and delayed I am. I think I originally intended to get my first video up on New Year's Day and kind of failed at that, so I've been late to the party ever since. So yeah, I just wanted to say, you may have noticed a little bit of channel update. My little brother Jaden did me some channel arts quite a while ago. It's been on my channel wallpaper on my YouTube page for a while, but I wanted to incorporate it into my videos, and so my channel's basically had a little bit of a refresh, like my channel video intros and things. They've had a little bit of a refresh for the new year and sort of celebrate me being on YouTube for about a year. So way. So I'm going to go off now and finish eating digestives and drinking Red Bull, and I'll leave you with whatever today's video is. So enjoy the video. Morning, campers. Well, that's it. That's Christmas over, and we're now officially in the no man's land kind of area in between Christmas and New Year. And because we're in this no man's land and I have no idea what day it is at the moment, I kind of figured that we'd have a sit down with a cup of tea and I'd go through a little life update and update you on my masters and a few other things, and I'd get around to using these brightening Undereye Hydrogel masky things that I've been meaning to use all Christmas and haven't yet, because my under eyes, quite frankly, need a bit of treatment. They look like I've been punched in the face. So what I'm going to plonk on my under eyes in a moment are the simple brightening under eye hydrogel mask, and it says with naturally derived fruit enzymes in it. And I basically bought these from Superdrug. I bought them as well with the matching actual sheet mask, but me being me, bought these back, forgot to bring the whole sheet mask back, didn't I, from Portsmouth. So it's 150 odd miles away. Because I'm bright, obviously. But yeah, these are 0%, so it says on there no artificial perfume or colour, no harsh chemicals that could upset your skin, no alcohol, that's a good thing, no added paraben or whatever that word says that I can't say. It's phthalates or something. No mineral oils and nothing animal derived. So it sounds like all good stuff. And it says on the back, time to glow. Our kind skin brightening under eye hydrogel masks are made from 100% hydrogel and help to reduce the appearance of dark circles and fine lines, leaving your skin looking and feeling radiant. Dark circles, most definitely. They are so bad. I think partially it's because my eyes are quite deep set, so you get a lot of shadow, but then these bits here are horrendous. When I did my little glow up kind of thing in the last video, I noticed that I was having to put 2 or 3 coats of concealer on just these little bits here because I could still see them. They look really bad. It looks like I've literally been bruised. I haven't been bruised, and I am sleeping properly. I'm still getting my 10 hours plus of shut eye every night with proper REM sleep, but they just seem to look horrendous, and I think it might just be to do with the winter and whatever, but it's they're horrendous. They're really black. I've always had really bad under eye bags anyway because of me having my pale skin, but at the moment they just look horrendous. So I haven't got black eyes, I will just point that out. I have not been punched in the face or anything, this is just how my eyes are at the minute. And it says that I have to put them on for 10 to 15 minutes. They may be on for a bit longer than that, but I don't care. Right, let's get inside. I kind of like this packaging as well. It's got cute little fruits and things on, and it does look good. Ooh. Oh, I thought it would smell fruity, but it smells a bit chemically. I think that one's gone. That's not the bit I'm supposed to put under my eye. It's come away. It's stuck in the packet. No, out. There it is. So inside you get these little jelly things. They look a bit like half the yin and yang symbol. And this is the bit that it was supposed to be sitting on, but it wasn't. This had come away completely, and this thing was just sat in there in the packet hello, just chilling. Let's bung this on my face. Let's try and use the side where there's a bit more serum on. Oh my god. This is cold. I probably should have warmed this up first. it's on. But you can't even see it now I've put it on. Ooh. It feels quite cooling and nice. Let's find the other one. Let's see, where's the other one? Well, the other one's kind of on. Oh, has it got another thing on it already, or are these just... No. Okay. I think mine seems to have just come all apart in the packet, but it's okay. Again, another one of these jelly things. There's just like heaps of plastic and stuff in it. Well, not in it, but like with it to stop it sticking. And I'm just going to bung this on my eye like this. They go on okay, actually. I've always been a bit sceptical about these because, like, I was like, well, how do they genuinely like sit under your eyes? Because I kind of thought they just like slide off, but they don't. Just feel like I've got gelatin under my eyes now and then, like jelly. It's a bit odd. Look, can you see? It sits. I think this bit here needs to go a tiny bit higher up. That's better. It needs to sort of sit like directly underneath where my lashes are. There we go. That's better, isn't it? I think they are sort of slowly slipping down. This one seems to have slipped. But that's okay. I'm not overly sure I put this one in the right place. That does feel like it's in the right place now. Okay. Hooray. So, these are like correctly sighted and they're hopefully like not going to fall down my face. I shall now leave them on for 15 minutes while we have a little life update chat and a cup of tea. I'll be back. I made myself a cup of tea. Yes, I make hot tea in a normal mug and it's leaf tea. This one is the Monster Mash Rose Kongu tea and it's basically black tea with rose. So there's like actual rose petals in the bottom. As you can see, always leaf tea, always in the bottom. I don't use like a filter or anything for it. That's just how I drink my tea. There is a random rogue rose petal that's like not on the bottom and is floating around. It's yeah, so if you see that floating around, don't panic, it's just a bit of tea. I'm slightly worried one of these is going to slide off and go splash in my cup of tea. The sod's law, and with my bad luck at the minute, that would kind of be what happened. So, on to the life updates. I think the main one is like uni, because I started this thingy called Doing a Masters, like this whole series, and then kind of like never updated it, and I was sort of like, oh, we should get around to doing some updating. I did originally try and schedule in some time to do some vlogs that I could then upload, but that never happened. I filmed a couple for the first week, but basically just never showed them. They weren't very long, and it was a case of, well, meh, it's kind of gone far past the point now where I could have like uploaded them. So it's like, well, consigned to the never used section, the miscellaneous file full of all sorts of weird and wonderful clips of footage that will just never be used. But basically, Masters, usually by this point I'd be about halfway through. Christmas is kind of like the halfway through point between the two terms usually, but because my course was delayed and it started in October rather than in September, it means that the halfway point will actually be at the end of January, so I have like 2 taught weeks left, next week and the week after, and then I have in like an exam period where there's like 2 weeks off, which is a bit like half term at school, and then into the second term. Usually I'd be like in the second teaching block when I go back, so that's a bit different, but yeah, so it's going okay. For the halfway point it feels like I'm going okay. I kind of feel like I should have more work to do, she says, bearing in mind that I do like quite a bit of work on bear in mind that I do quite a bit of work on my dissertation and all of my assignments and all of my subjects anyway. It's kind of like I do like 8 hours work a day, which it sounds stupid, but it's like going over notes, and there's like I have stuff that's due in at the end of the month and in a few weeks and whatever, so it's like, well, obviously working on assignments, it takes up time, and then I'm doing stuff for my dissertation, and so yeah, there's all sorts of stuff I'm doing, and I kind of feel like I should have more work on. And by more work, I mean for like more subjects, but obviously with masters being more specialised, you have like, the way my timetable works is that I have, I chose 2 core modules. So I have counter fraud and counter corruption, and then I have my intelligence analysis module, and I have those, and then I have like the research methods and research ethics block, which everybody has to do. And whereas before, when I was doing my undergrad, I'd have like 4 or 5 subjects per week, and now I've gone down to like 3. So I have like a 2-hour lecture a week on countering fraud and corruption, and then 2 hours on intelligence analysis, and then I have 2 2-hour lectures on the research methods and research ethics, but I don't have much of this in next term in the second teaching block. And then for the second teaching block, I'll also finish my main countering fraud and corruption module, and I'll also finish my intelligence analysis module. So it's like my last 2 talk weeks of those when I go back. And I'll pick up another unit instead called international fraud and corruption, and that will basically just be it. That and dissertation. So it feels a bit like it's winding down, and in a way it kind of is, but also the dissertation's like 15,000 words, so that's a hell of a lot of work to do. Albeit I have got until like August to do it, but I kind of want to get the bulk of that drafted. I would say drafted, I don't think that's quite the right word. I want to get it also, it's like in bullet points, so that over the summer I can literally just sit down and just type, basically. This is how I prefer to write. I just prefer to have like a long session where I sit down and type it all up in full, and then like many sessions where I sit and make notes and basically divide it all up into bullet points, and each set of bullet points goes in a square, and that square will basically become a paragraph. Then I basically just sit down and type all the bullet points into sentences, and that's it, that's the paragraph sorted. Which sounds logical, but also sounds like a lot of work. So at the moment I have my first intelligence analysis assessment that I'm currently about 2,000 words into out of 2,500 words, so I'm going okay with that. That's due in a couple of weeks. And then I've got my final assessment for the countering fraud and corruption module, and that's 3,000 words, and that's due in at the end of January, and I haven't even started that one yet. Primarily because of like how disrupted the teaching's been, and I hate to use that word, disrupted, but it has been disrupted. So it's not all been face to face. There's been bits of online stuff, and it's just basically it's messed up all their teaching schedules and things, and so it means that like the assessment guidance that we should have been given has been delayed, so we're not going to get it until later, and ideally we'd have had it before Christmas. And it's a bit disappointing how like messy their teaching's been, but at the same time I do understand why their teaching has been so messed up, because they planned for like a 12-week block of face-to-face teaching like they were told to by the uni, and then that didn't happen, did it? So oh well. A downside to it as well is that with the Christmas break being like around assessment time, it means that teachers are like on their break, so if you have like questions about the assignments or whatever, it's going to take them a little while to get back to you because they're on holiday, and quite frankly they deserve their holiday. They've been like nice and busy, and they've been running around after us and looking after all of us and teaching on their other students, because they don't just teach the master's students, a lot of them teach on the undergrad courses. So yeah, so they bless them. I kind of feel sorry for him in the way, and I'm kind of glad that I'm not a lecturer at the moment, because it would just be a nightmare. Like, as a student, for us with all the COVID and the uncertainty and the unknown stuff, it's a bit of a nightmare, and so I can't imagine what it's going to be like for the lecturers and uni staff. With regards to my dissertation, well, I put in the research summary for it just before Christmas, which I haven't yet got the feedback for, which is a bit worrying, because I have another like full research proposal to be done for like the first week of February, and it's like, well, I would like the feedback from my research summary to be able to make changes to my research proposal. But I have been appointed my dissertation supervisor, and I have had like a brief email conversation. I kind of thought, right, well, okay, it's the last week of Christmas, we've literally just been assigned somebody. I will email them and introduce myself and sort of go, hello, hello, this is me, I am the one that's researching this, and just sort of left it at that because Christmas break came. So, but he did reply, which was good. He did sort of reply and say hello and told me to make sure that I looked at like the feedback once it's released. I was hoping it would have been released by now, but obviously not. But it sounds like he's marked it already, so I might kind of just ask him for the feedback if I haven't had it by the end of the first week, because I kind of like want to have time to read it and digest it and then make adjustments and improvements based on that, which is understandable. But I can't help feeling that the research summary, which is only like 1,000 words and could be done in bullet points, should really have been in for the end of October, because then you've got like time for it to be marked, time for supervisors to be allocated, and then that could have happened throughout November, and then we could have had at least a chance to meet our supervisors like properly, rather than it just sort of feeling like a rush in the last week of term before Christmas, if you get my drift. But it's also never a good sign when you have to Google your dissertation supervisor because you don't know who they are. This particular chap that I've got didn't even feature in my top 10. Which I feel kind of quite bad for, but he sounds okay. Like by what I've seen on his research bio, he sounds okay. It's just he does more fraud stuff than corruption, and that's why he wasn't in my top 10. There were people that actually do corruption and research the field of corruption more in a more specialised manner that were in my top 10. But I guess he's in the right department, so hopefully I'll get on with him. It's kind of hard to gauge from one email, and I'm one of these people that's quite hard to work with because I like to know who it is that I'm working with first. I like to get to know them a bit and like start to build like the rapport and the relationship before I go, okay, yes, I know I can work with you. I think this is why online dating for me isn't the best thing in the world. I prefer to meet people in real life. It's kind of like one of these. Picking a dissertation supervisor is a bit like trying to find somebody in the online dating world. You either get it right first time or you spend ages trying to find the right person. And I find that it's really hard to start a relationship purely through like an online, like kind of email-y messaging kind of thing. And I much prefer to sort of know them first. Like, it's know your enemy, isn't it, really? Because seeing as your supervisor marks your work, I kind of like to get to know them first to know whether I can work with them and know kind of how they mark stuff as well. Because some of them can either be incredibly strict or some of them are quite lenient. I'd rather have one that's slightly more lenient than one that's quite strict. However, my number one choice for dissertation supervisor was a very strict marker, so... But then again, I suppose if he is a lawyer, it's one of them, isn't it? I will also point out that everybody that featured in my top 10 I kind of know in some capacity because they've either been one of my previous lecturers or seminar tutors at undergrad level, or they've done a guest lecture while I've been on my masters, and that makes it kind of easier because you sort of have like the measure of them a little bit, and you kind of know what to expect from them, and you know their skill set a bit more, so you know what's going to be slightly more tailored to them, and you know what kind of skills they've got. So my number one choice, again, I've just said he was a lawyer. He's got the legal skills I need to like go through the laws and stuff, and military laws like a can of worms, I think the right phrase is. It's kind of bits of it contradicts each other and bits of it odd, phrased strangely, phrased in such a way that you sort of read it and think that makes no sense at all. He might have been able to help me digest that. He still could, I guess, but meh. Use the skills, and obviously I probably wouldn't be one of his priorities, seeing as I'm not one of his students. This is like dissertation students, so meh. But I can ask. There's no harm in asking, is there really? I notice that this one is sliding down my bloody face. Get back on, thank you. It's because they're drying out. They've been on for like about 10 minutes now. I've been waffling on for 10 minutes about like my whole dissertation and whatever. That's basically like my whole life at the minute is dissertation, so that's all you're gonna get. So, for those of you that don't know, I'm writing my dissertation on the Deep Cut 4 and whether corruption was involved in like the army's handling and the police's handling of the cases, and it meant like basically the case was bungled quite badly, catastrophically, and basically the men are right pigs here of the case, and it's one of these that the messes and the failures that happened are so severe that no one's ever going to know truly what happened because stuff's been destroyed, like evidence, and things from the scene weren't taken, there was no forensics or anything, so it's literally like he said, she said, and people have changed statements and all sorts in the many years since. So the deaths of the Deep Cut 4 happened between 1995 and 2002, and obviously forensic processes and investigation processes and policies were very different then to how they are now, and times moved on, technology's moved on, and it's one of those cases that's quite frustrating because you sort of think there was a lack of basic coppering going on, to quote Ian Buckles from Line of Duty, lack of basic coppering going on, and lack of basic procedures, like following basic procedures, like such as, so with these deaths, who investigates them? Civil police or military police? Because nobody knows. It's one of them. Nobody knows at all. So basically, I've showed you this book before. It arrived in the post, and I've been sitting there dissecting the appendices in the back. There are this has got play in the beginning. I'm not really interested in the play. I'm more interested in the appendices in the back because it contains like this, a journal article and a couple of reports on the investigation, and there's like statements and things in the back, and I'm currently dissecting these, reading them, pulling them apart, going back through them and highlighting, and basically this, by the time I finish with it, this book is going to be covered in like loads and loads of post-it notes, and that was my dissertation work for over Christmas. Well, that's kind of where I'm at with a life update at the minute. It's kind of, my whole life at the minute is uni work. There's a bit, well, not much news on the job front. Like, proper job, I don't just mean this, I don't get paid to do this. Well, I don't at the minute anyway. It'd be nice to have some more subscribers so I hit that magic like 1,000 subscribers, but that's not going to happen overnight. Yeah, and trying to find a job that fits around my studies. Easier said than done, isn't it, really? Like, the openings, shallow, small, and a lot of openings tend to clash with my uni lectures, but that's okay. You can't like win them all, and at the minute my priority is to my master's degree and getting that finished and done dusty with a good grade, so other than that, there's not really been much in the way of life update. That's all it's been. Obviously with like COVID and whatever, that's all I've been allowed to do is kind of like that. Right then, now I'd be finished rabbiting. I can literally feel this one sliding back down my face again. Like, it's come away from me out again. They've gone warm. They've gone warm. This one's okay, this one's kind of stuck to where it's supposed to. This left one keeps sliding down. They don't feel very cool on my eyes anymore. Like, the outside of them does feel quite warm to touch, but that's from body heat, so that's kind of okay, so I'm going to peel them off. Ooh. They literally do look like yin and yangs, or like chicken dippers, but just made out of jelly, and they do wibble quite a lot. Wibble. They're a bit odd. And they kind of smell a bit weird as well. Oh, they do feel a lot more moisturised. Do their eyes look better now? I don't really think so. I think my dents in my eyes are just... They do look a bit less swollen and puffy, I think. Although the puffiness can't really be helped. But yeah, they do feel... It does feel very moisturised though. That's good. My eyes have been quite dry over the winter. That's usual for that to happen. They do get very dry. It's just unfortunately something that happens, and you can get back in the packet. I try to put them back in the packet so I can like chuck them away, and it's like they don't want to go. I don't really want them over my bed or like ending up splattered in my tea or whatever. So, well then, that's the end of me rabbiting on about life updates. As for the Undereye Hydrogel Undereye masky thingies, would I buy them again? Possibly. If they're on offer, I'd buy them again. I think I got these free with the full sheet face mask, which I'll use at a later date. So that's the whole reason why I got them in the first place. It's not typically something I'd buy. I much prefer full face kind of face masks rather than just doing a little bit. It's just easier, and I'm quite lazy. I also like to sit and relax by just plonking on a whole face mask anyway, so. And they move a bit less than these. These were sliding down my face ever so slowly. I think if you watch the video back, you just sort of see them like slowly slide down my face. Feels a bit like I've had cucumber on my eyes. It's like that kind of cooling thing. I bet if I put them in the fridge before I use them, they'd be like extra cool. Good idea for the summer if I bought them again. I think I'd give them like a 7 out of 10. They don't really like smell of anything, like there's no residue or anything that smells on there, and it's not like an offensive kind of smell, it just smells like skincare.